What is up, everybody, and welcome to The Well-Rounded Coach. I'm your host, Dylan King of Flambeau Fit. I've been a coach for nearly a decade now, and now I train people online and in person. Not only am I a proud trans man myself, but I've been a vocal advocate in sharing my personal story to help educate others, and I've been doing so since 2017. I am a true believer in manifesting the life of your dreams through visualization and meditation. Every other episode will be joined by my best friend Jimmy, who's an all-around amazing guy, super passionate about data, equity, and making sure people feel seen and are cared for. We're going to be diving in deep, all things fitness, family, and how to feel good about being you. Our goal for this podcast is to help as many people as possible live the life you know you deserve. So tune in and see how you can live your best life using the time, resources, and community you have. Let's go. All right, Jimmy has joined me yet again, which I think manifesting was my favorite topic, but goals might, I think, maybe be one of yours.
Probably, yeah.
You're working on one of your biggest goals currently.
Yes. I think goals are not only like one of my favorite topics, but it's something that I've been working on a goal for like
very long, Jimmy.
Very long
time.
I feel like everybody knows me.
And I'm tired for you, literally.
Look, I'm tired for myself, and I'm sure my partner is tired for me.
Look, I texted you earlier today, and I was like, "Are you okay in there? Like, is Jimbo still in there deep down? Because I need him to survive."
He's there somewhere. So for those who don't know, but even though I'm sure 99% of the people in my life
who know you personally, yeah,
because I complain about it / I'm always like, I can't go do fun shit because
I don't think you complain. I mean, I think you're just, your time is taken up and your priorities are obviously there, which they should be.
Yeah,
they should be.
Yeah. So I've been in school for the past at least 5 years because I finished my undergrad in 2021, and then I immediately applied for master's school, for graduate school.
I know. I remember you graduated and you're like, and then I start. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, you just said you finished. You're like, yeah, but then I start. I'm like,
yeah. So I did. I finished my undergraduate. I finished my undergraduate, which I never thought I would finish. It took me 13 years. I was 31 when I finished.
Which this is a perfect segue just quickly into like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get to your goals.
Yeah.
And like, it looks different for everybody.
Yeah. So that's one of the big things, right? Is like, it looks, goals are like, you know, I mean, like, I can look up the definition of goals if we want. Let's see. Merriam-Webster says, the end toward which effort is directed, an area or object. Oh, yeah, this is the sports version. An area or object toward which players in various games attempt to advance a ball.
And I mean, I'm a goal-oriented person, like, for sure. Like, that is pretty much the way my brain works. But I'm about to be 34 years old, and I think I'm just realizing, though, that it could be detrimental to, like, your mental health space as far as like never giving yourself the time to appreciate whatever goals you have achieved along the way to your big goal.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, as long as you've known me really closely, it's been personal training, it's been nutrition, it was the gym, it's the kids, then it was the house.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm refocusing like back on the gym.
Yeah.
You know, so I've always had like a goal in mind, and I'm really just finally to the point in my life where I'm allowing myself to, like, I told Missy, like, it's no November. Unless it is a social event we want to go to, like, no. Like, we're not doing it because I need time to sit back in the house that I built with my kids and just be, like, in the moment. I don't need to be planning something. I don't need to be working on something, like, and that's kind of funny, right? Like, I'm like, I don't need to be working on something. I'm literally still working on, like, making the gym better and better. But that almost feels like a natural thing to me day to day, you know? But
I think you, like, being like, well, it's a natural thing, like, blah, 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 like, trying to rationalize it doesn't, I feel like you don't have to rationalize it, one, because, like, that's your job, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like there's
it's our bread and butter to like survive is like
Right.
making sure the gym is always in the know, up with everything. So it's like, of course I have to keep the gym the best it can be, because in turn that means my family's doing the best we can be doing.
Right.
But it's like, I'm like, oh, I don't have anything to do, but it's like, it's like, that is my job, like all the time,
Yeah.
making sure that we're hitting these marks that I give us.
Because I think like goals, like, and especially, right, like it's November, so holidays are looming. They're like here.
Yeah, they're basically here. Basically.
So that means New Year's is looming. So I think this is the time where we see those like opinion piece articles, or
New
like
year,
influencers.
new you every year.
Yeah, and it's like
there's nothing wrong with the old you. Well, like, I mean, there's
Right.
always, I think, room for self-improvement for every single body, but like, you don't have to wait till January 1st. And like, just because it's a new year, if you like the way your life is going, like, we don't need to like really it's like a media thing to just be like, we have to change directions and just totally new you. It's like, that's doesn't have to be the case on January 1st.
Well, and I think what's like interesting too, right, is like people see January 1st, or they're like, I'm going to start on Monday, or I'm going to start on whatever your like time block is. Like, that's totally fine. I'm not saying that like you shouldn't start on a Monday, or you shouldn't start on January 1st or the 2nd or whatever. What I'm saying is like a goal, whatever your goal is, like we talk about all the time, right? So I'm getting my master's in public health, so we talk about SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So that's like when you set a goal, they're talking about SMART goals. So you can set.
I love this, because I don't think until we were talking about this the other day that I'd even heard that
Really?
term. Yeah.
So it's really interesting you say that too, because I was talking with some of my coworkers and we were talking about this, and they were like, that framing, that SMART framing, SMART, like that is not. People don't talk about it like that. That's
I've
like
never
kind of
heard
high
it.
level.
But I've never gone through anything to break down, like in a school system or any, like, I'm just, kind of winging it over here, and I just know that I'm goal oriented. Like, it's not like anything. Like, you've always had like a very structured goal in like a systematic way to where you've probably picked up this phrase.
Yeah.
But I love it, because my favorite thing in it, which is something that I'm just realizing, but I wish I would have realized sooner, is that it needs to be realistic in the timing.
Yeah.
Right? And that's so big, like for myself, and give myself the grace to be like, this is a big goal and it's going to take time.
Yeah.
But also as a coach, it's huge. Because people walk in the door and they're like, I want to lose 30 pounds. Or I want a 500-pound deadlift. And you're like, okay, well, I hope you have more than a month to put in.
Yeah.
Right? And like, your goal is fine.
Yeah.
But I like to really shift people into thinking more incrementally and allowing themselves to celebrate those small achievements along the way.
Yeah.
Because if not, that big goal just seems so far away and so unattainable, and then they don't even realize the progress that they're making from point A to Z.
Yeah.
They're only looking at Z, but they're missing everything else in between.
Yeah.
And like, I've been guilty of that too, to a certain degree, to where I'm
same.
like making myself like lay back and be like, you've actually done a lot so far.
Yeah.
And it has taken me till 2022. And it's honestly taken some of our members to be like, you've done so much at 33.
Yeah.
And me being like, have I?
Yeah.
So I really try to push that into all of my clients, whether online or in person, that in everything, but especially physical health, it's like, take your small wins.
Yeah.
And allow them to encourage you to move forward.
Well, and you have to. Like, you just have to, because like there's no way you're going to get to a 500-pound deadlift, or like, I mean, even me right now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like you, right.
So right now, as of now, I can walk with shoes on, regular shoes on.
Yeah.
Which is like it's like life changing again. But at the same time, like, I still have to go to PT 3 times a week, and I'm like constantly talking.
Dang, you're going 3 times a week.
3 times a week, my dude.
Ooh. I mean, I've been in once a week since March, but not 3 times.
3 times a week.
But then again, to be fair, like, I think they would push me to come more, but they know that like I'm doing it in between classes while I'm coaching, so they know that I'm doing it way more than that one time. Like, they give me things to do, and I do it through the rest of the week, whereas you know, like you work from home, but you don't have the ability. Like I
Yeah.
have all the equipments around
Yeah.
me all day.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
it's those small incremental things because, and if you don't do them right, whatever your goal is, it's doing the small incremental, either day to day or week to week stuff that will you'll get progress. You'll put little things that build on top of each other. And I used to hate this when they would tell me in math. Math is my worst subject, but they're like, it's building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do the building blocks first to be able to get to the big stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I'm terrible at math, so it's totally fine that it doesn't work out in that particular aspect, but in other aspects, what works for me and my goal, especially with school. So school's been 5 years. Took me 3, I think, for my undergrad, the last 3 when I really started working at it. And then I'll get my master's in 18 months. So 7-week classes where I was like, start one, do the homework, finish one, week off, start another. And what really helped me and what helps me with my goals, and this is just related to knowing yourself, right? And knowing like what helps you stay motivated and what helps you stay determined. Because I know me and you will talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Where like people are like, how do I stay motivated to do whatever it is? Often it's gym related, and it's like, you're not going to have motivation every day.
Yeah, you're
so
not.
That, like,
it's just about, and I saw something the other day. It was like, you know, if you have 40% and you show up and you give all that 40%, like you gave your 100 that day.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's like, okay, like if I only feel like I have 40%, but I decide to do nothing, that's 0.
Yeah.
But it's that 40% is better than nothing, and like it's still moving you towards your goals, whereas like that a 0% would move you maybe further away.
Yeah.
Depending on what your goal is, right? Like some things are sustainable to kind of sit still for a little while, and other things like you have to continuously move forward depending on what kind of goal we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I love that because that goes into, I think, the timing.
Yeah.
You know, in being realistic of like life events are going to happen to you and around you while you're working on that goal that are going to side rail you here and there.
Yeah.
You know, but also like you also know like you're going to need that rest time to recoup and just to recharge yourself. And so that time, that's going to spread out your time a little bit more. You know, like obviously schooling is like on a very scheduled kind of thing, but like if we're talking grand scheme of any kind of goal, if we're talking financial goal, fitness goal, home goal, work goal, promotion, like whatever, you know, all these things, if you're trying to heal your relationship, like there's going to be things that derail you. There's going to be other people that influence like your surroundings.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that the ert is my favorite.
Yeah.
Pert.
So
You
your
like that?
favorite
Ert
part
the
is
part?
the ert.
My ert
the
is the
ART.
favorite
Your favorite part is the ART.
Don't you just want to say ert now? Because I could hear you hitting it harder now that I said that. The ert's my favorite pert.
The ert's your favorite pert. Feel like I'm gonna be like,
We are
skip.
both. Yeah, you were like, what kind of
This
episode are they
one's
doing
good.
right
I'm
now?
gonna skip this one.
This is what it's like to be in a car with Jimmy and Dylan.
We haven't even been drinking. That's maybe for our holiday episode. This is even really our holiday episode.
We'll think about that for a holiday episode. A little fun time.
I think so. One that's super cool to me that you've never heard this SMART, because I was talking with somebody else and they were like, a lot of people don't talk about goals like that. And I was like, it's so easy though. It's so easy. People know these words. Like, I don't think that it should be high level thinking of how we approach goals, because it's easy. It's smart. It's SMART, you know, it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. And like, my favorite part, at least for certain goals,
My least favorite is measurable because I'm not a data person like
that
you.
is my favorite part. And I used to not be like that. Look, because I'm not a math person, I used to not be like that. But do you remember when I would come in the gym and I would write down my workout every day?
Yes, I do.
I
remember that little notebook. It would just sit
still
over
have it.
there on that little...
It's in my gym bag for when I return.
Yeah.
And like, I can look back every day what we did for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I could see our progress getting better from our like bench when we would bench press, when we would do chest flies, all of that, because I was looking back at the data and being like, okay, we did this percentage that day. Let's add
And
this
I say that,
percentage.
like I say measurable is my least favorite part because charts and data just kind of like make my brain feel like scrambled eggs. But if you look at what I do, like I do the 6-week nutrition course and they all have a measurable after,
Yeah.
result. And like all of our members, we do 1 rep maxes quarterly. So that's a measurable, like, so I'm around it and I promote it in a way, but I guess it's depending on how I'm getting that measurement, the measurable part of it, whether I feel like I'm learning a new card game or or if it's like easily legible for me.
Yeah. Well, and that's like offline we can talk more about like data and like, literacy and education and like how we read it, because also you're only as good at, and I'm sure you've talked with folks about like how you weigh your food, right? Which is a later conversation. But however you measure goals, right? Because we're talking about goals. However you measure your goals, however that works for you, if it's like a weekly check-in, if it's a monthly check-in, like measuring them really helps me because I can see progress.
Yeah.
And then at the other times when it's not bad, but when I'm struggling with like staying the course, I can see where I dipped. And that's when I can really look back, and when I'm not feeling motivated and I need determination, I can look back on my previous work and be like, man, I've done all this. All I need to do is a little bit more, and I texted you that today when you were like, are you all right? And I was like, I'm okay. It's just the most stressed that I've ever been for school because it's now like culminating. And like, I think that's where goals can be debilitating almost, right? Is we're spending so much time thinking about these goals sometimes. And mostly it's the afters, like the after crash. Once you get the goal, you're like, what do I do next? So I'm like ready to deal with that. It's like we're empty
nesters. We're like, what do I do with myself? And then that's when I feel like I get into like this head rush of like not being able to even appreciate what I just did. Like I worked so long for this goal. I get this goal and I'm just immediately like, what's next? And I do think that's a big thing in our generation in general. One, because of social media and stuff, because if you look on social media, right, like everybody's always doing something, because those are the people that are posting, so those are the people in your feed, so we're constantly like chasing, and that kind of like is where I want to get into, like how maybe having goals all the time or so many goals like isn't really beneficial. Like goals are great to keep you growing as a person, right? Like if you're the same person you were 10 years ago, like, obviously there's an issue there. We should always be evolving and growing and, achieving new things. Cause like, that's what gives you your experiences that you live in your life and the knowledge that you have and you gain all this stuff. But I really had to take a step back and realized that I was causing myself more stress than I needed to stress out. I was like, well, what's next? What can I do next? What can I be next? Like, remember, I went through that year of like, I felt like I needed all the titles, right? Because like I wasn't able to go to school. Like there was no further education for me, right? Like, and I was just like in survival mode from like 16, 17 years old. And then pandemic happened. And the gym was doing so good, and we were pretty well known in the area. Like the gym, we were on a busy street. Like anyone in the LGBT community kind of like knew us as like the whatever gay gym or whatever, But then when COVID happened, it was like I applied to be on CrossFit's DEI council, and like I got selected. Like I became the president of the Out Foundation New Orleans chapter. I got voted to be like the 40 under 40 in the New Orleans like Gambit, which is like the New Orleans newspaper, and it was like I felt like I needed like what goes next, what title can I do next, because I didn't have a degree, I didn't really have it, I was just a coach, and I was like after it, and then I had all these things on my plate and I didn't feel satisfied. But I felt stressed all the time. And I was like, I did this to myself. Like, I thought that this was going to fulfill me and make me feel like I've made it. But, like, none of those things, like, gave me that. So I had to steer back and be like, what's important? Like, my family time and my downtime is actually really important for me and my family, but also for me. Like, just for me, nobody else. And then looking at my circle and being like, okay, well, it doesn't matter if I don't have a title, but my biggest impact is like our community, say between friends, family, and the gym. Like that's where I can affect the most change.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I had all these goals to be all of these titles and all of these things, and like it literally just caused me stress and took my time away from things that I actually valued and that I actually considered quality.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think like one of the things, right, like related to, you know, what you were talking about with like success and titles and social media and like how your goals were like taking time away from not just like what's important to you, but like what like fulfills you, you know, like what fills you and recharges you, right? Not just fulfills you, but recharges you. And like when people get caught up in goals to like
life literally can pass you by.
Yes. And like that I think has been because like I think that's been the hardest thing is like I'm very proud that I'm going to have my master's degree in like 5 weeks or something like that, 4. But I also don't think, I think the stuff that I'm most proud of is all of the community education that I've had, that I've learned from community members, and I've learned from just like doing the actual work, you know? And I think the hardest thing too is, and this is what I always try and remind myself, is like, especially like the work you do and the work I do and the work that a lot of us do, like educators, teachers, people who are leaders, like you don't see, like when you throw a rock or something into a pond, right? You see where it hits, but like you don't see the ripples after. You see some of them, but you don't see how far it goes unless you're standing like on the bank. You'll see this part, right? Like, because we're thinking of a circle, but you won't see the other side of it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's
to know like how far it affects.
To know how far it affects, right? And to know what's stopping it, what's letting it continue. And I think that's like what I think is most important for me is like, yeah, I'll be really proud of the degree. Hopefully I'll get some more Dolores at one point, you know. But I think what's most proud is like, wow, like you think SMART goals is really cool. And that is a tool that you might use in other ways. Mm-hmm. Like that's really worth it. Like that is worth the 4 classes that I took, you know, and had to talk about them. You know, like that is worth being like, hey, I went and I showed up and I did the homework, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one person. It doesn't have to be 40. It doesn't have to be 50. It doesn't have to be, you know, the titles are nice too, right? Their raises are great. But knowing who I'm affecting is great. And sometimes you don't get that. And that's like, I think one of the hard things. But I'm ready, like letting life pass you by to get a goal and is like one of the hardest things about.
Yeah. And it's like, I really think though, like your goals, if the goal is the right and it's the healthy goal for you, your life won't just in a blink of an eye pass you by because you're just trying to attain that goal. I think that goal and everything in between while you get there, you're gaining knowledge and experiences and, you know, along the way that are purposeful towards your goal and not just like an energy vampire. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's like
the whole experience should be a beneficial experience if it's the right goal for you.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm not bashing goals, like literally, like
oh no, I really love them.
Like
they're difficult.
I am totally goal driven, but we have to back up and say what's realistic for me and what's actually beneficial for me, and like how can I do this goal and still be able to enjoy my life. Yeah. You know, and take every chapter of getting there and appreciate it for what it is. And then when you get to that goal, please enjoy it. Yeah. Please enjoy it. That was the biggest lesson I had to learn. You know, I was achieving all these things from late 20s to early 30s, and literally Missy was like, what's next? Like, it's always something next. And she doesn't, like, it doesn't bother her. Yeah. She's like, that's just the way you are. But I have realized that, like, how fast my kids are growing. Yeah. Right? Or like I need to realize like I have a whole freaking gym. And like I literally work for myself. I make my own hours. Like why am I stressed all the time? Like no, things aren't always going to be perfect in like all these aspects, but like what am I working so hard for if I can't ever sit back and be like, wow, all this shit is mine. Like I built all this. This community that's in here is cuz we started the gym. Yeah. You know, like all that, it's like you need to pat yourself on the back sometimes, even if you feel like you're not at your end goal, because I promise you it's a moving target. Yeah. It's a moving target. Your goal is a moving target. Yeah. Because we will get there and we will want to achieve something else after that. But we need to learn to like breathe and be like, I did it. good job, Dylan. Good job, Jimmy. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's not boastful. I think we need to move away also from feeling like, oh, well, that's bragging.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be freaking proud that you had this hard goal and you had the discipline and you continued with the determination. No matter what life threw at you, you got there. It might have prolonged it a year or 2 years, or, you know, you might be in your 40s changing careers. But, like, you're still doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
And, like, that's great and that's awesome, you know? You know, one time, when we were building this house, was it this one? No, we hadn't started building yet. We were about to sell our first house, and one of my cousins that I'm close with, she's probably listening, but one of my cousins I'm close with bought her first house, and I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I was just ecstatic for her. Like,
Yeah.
I knew there was situations where she's like still living with her mom or whatever. And I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, and she's a little bit older than me. I was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, I'm super excited. Like, that's awesome. Like, send me pictures.
Yeah.
I'll have to come over and see it one day. And she's like, yeah, I didn't do it as fast as you, but I finally did it. And I was like, it kind of took me back when she texted me that, because I don't want anyone to ever think that whatever I'm doing should be the time frame that they're doing other things on. And maybe not me personally, because you might not know me, but like, you and your siblings, you and your cousins, you and your best friend, you know, it's not a competition. Like, everyone has to do their own things and get to their own goals on their own time. And I texted her back and I was like, look, I mean, shit, I was getting kicked out of my house when I was 16, 17. Of course, my life moved a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But I never look at somebody and like, by this age, they should definitely have that.
Yeah.
Like, to each his own.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we don't even realize on the front, like, what people are dealing with. Like, they might be dealing with trauma shit, family shit, financial stuff, work stuff, whatever, that's prolonging them getting to where they want. But it was just crazy to me. It's like, I don't want anybody to feel like they have to compete with anybody, you know? And I never, ever treated my cousins that way, but I think we all have this thing inside of us when we're seeing other people achieve things on social media and we feel like we're lagging behind. Yeah. Forget about it. It doesn't matter. Are you happy? Are you moving forward? Are you better than you were yesterday? Are you better than you were a year ago? Like, only you know what the best time frame is for you.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a big thing. It's like, I don't think we even realize how many people are watching us and comparing, but like that can be motivational.
It can be debilitating too.
Yeah,
it can be really difficult.
Absolutely,
because your timeline is yours.
Yeah,
you know, and like it should be yours. And I know it doesn't always like work out to where there are goals that fall on the timeline that you want.
But if you trust the universe is manifesting your best for you, it's only steering you in a better direction.
Look, it'll get there. I do believe, like, go back and listen to the other episode if you haven't, but I do believe the universe takes care of people and has karma and, like, you know, that energy. But I also think that, like, sometimes your goals, like, don't pan out on the timeline you want.
Absolutely.
Like, 13 years for college, not advisable, is a little bit long. Maybe if you're in a fraternity or sorority or like in with a group, like maybe
you want to hang out there.
Yeah, maybe you want to be there a little bit longer.
So.
But like 13 years is also like, it could be 15 years, it could be 20. You could go back to school and get a total different degree. It also doesn't just have to be school. That's just where my brain is right now. I remember when I was younger, the biggest goal that I think I had before school was I wanted to have my top surgery.
Yeah.
And like,
and my goal was I wanted my top surgery within a year of starting my hormones.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know how I made through like 3 months of like working overtime, like 45 hours a week. Besides, like, that goal was like,
that's all you saw
driving me. So like, that's right where the difference, when we come back to like motivations versus determination, is like, that determination is what helps me get through, you know, and like that energy is like, okay, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. But I remember, right, so like we've talked about kind of what is a goal. We've talked a little bit about goals that we are either going through personally. You've talked about how you're realizing now after your goal, like, hey, I want to sit and savor the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And like, that, savoring the moment and being proud of yourself, and like telling people is the part
It's
that I'm
great. It's okay to do that.
right. I'm terrible at
And
doing
we're so
that.
bad at doing it. We're so bad at, like, all of us. Because I think, right, because, like, we all know that arrogant person that is, like, over the top.
Yeah.
And it's coming from, like, insecurities of, look at me. But, like, and they'll have their time to go to their therapist and work through those insecurities so they
Hopefully.
can have conversations like a normal person. And I'm not thinking of anybody in particular, but, like, we've all known
Yeah,
one or a few
we
people.
know those people.
Right.
We will know them again. We will
But,
work
like,
with them,
it's okay to
unfortunately.
be, like, proud of yourself publicly.
Yeah.
Publicly. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it feels good. And you
Yeah.
worked freaking hard. Get those pats on the back. Go you.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. And then you'll find another goal to work on. And it'll be, this is a cycle.
Yeah.
And I'll say, too, like, so I know we were talking about whether we want to talk about nutrition or goals. And you're like, you cannot smash two
I was like,
subjects.
don't smash them together.
From a coach's perspective, and especially a nutrition coach's perspective, or even just a coach in general of fitness, I have to know what my members and my clients' goals are before I can adequately train them or guide them there, right?
Yeah.
So if someone wants to lose body fat, I'm going to have them use lighter weights, go faster, if someone wants to PR their deadlift, I'm going to have them lifting heavier weights, going slower, resting in between, all these things, right? And then even bigger, I have to know someone's physical fitness, performance, aesthetic, whatever kind of goals they have before I can be their nutrition coach. So, like, goals are also good because if you just, like, I have this goal and you're just, like, flailing in the world without a map, like, how do you get there? Like, so I think a goal is good to kind of set yourself up to have, like, this plan of, like, you knew this is the schooling you had to do to get to your goal.
Yeah.
But again, it's realistic. It's a time frame. It's being gracious with yourself. It's understanding that you're not going to be able to control everything in your life that's going to affect how and when you get to these goals.
Yeah.
So, like, they're important because you do need a map, but you kind of need a little sidebar on the side to let yourself drift over to and be like, we had to pause for a week or two because...
Yeah.
Like, whatever. So-and-so was in the hospital. I had to pause for 2 weeks because, like, the car broke down.
Yeah.
And, like, I had to go put my extra money into that instead of saving for my Europe trip or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, so I think goals are great to help us get there, but we're already so stressed out enough. I don't think our goals should stress us. And I think that was another thing is like, if I'm forever chasing this image in my mind of how successful the gym needs to be.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to, like, what if it takes me another 5 years? You're going to tell me I'm not going to allow myself to like, enjoy the bits and pieces of my life in 5 years because I'm only concentrating on that end goal? Like, look how good the gym is now. We have great people in the gym. The gym is doing great. The kids are being raised in, like, a healthy environment. And I want to be able to appreciate that now as it's developing. And that's what I'm saying, like, a moving target.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, how much more schooling do you want? Like, is that a moving target or are you there?
Look, I think to answer that question, I think probably I'll go back to school. It depends on, I think it really depends on kind of like career
job
goals.
opportunities.
Yeah, career goals. Yeah, and job opportunities. Because, like, you were talking about from a nutrition coach's perspective, right?
Yeah.
About you need to know what your client's goals are. From a public health, like, practitioner, public health worker perspective, like, I need to know what my client's goals are, or, like, what my target population goal is, or what, like, the goal that my, like, boss has for me, or the goal of our organization or whatever. And also, on a more specific level too, like, I need to know what these individual community members' goals are, because, like, their goals might not be what I think their goals should be.
Right. And you might be working in the wrong direction.
Right. And helping them, one, meeting them where they are, and two, helping them be like, okay, if you want this goal, then, like, what can I do to help you with your goal? Because I think that's another thing too, is, like, knowing the people around you who can help and support you with, like, you working towards your goal versus, like, hinder you was, like, another key and crucial point. Because, like, I know that a lot of times I'd be like, hey, I'm skipping the gym. Hey, I can't do this thing. I know I missed, like, a birthday party. I know I missed a Saints game. I know I missed, like, I can think of all of these key moments that I know that I missed, not that I don't think y'all remember or because y'all don't care, but because it was like, there's always going to be, and this is the slippery slope, and like, tricky thing is like, yeah, there's always going to be another night you can go out, but on those nights or all those like events to go to and show up to, like, that's where like you should show up to the event, like you have to balance it. And that's the key part is balancing the, like, hey, I can't go to this thing because I have to, study for this test. Yeah. And the other person be like, no problem. I support you. I know this is a goal of yours. But knowing that, being able to balance and budget your time where you can be like, okay, I missed this thing, but how can I, for my mental health and for my friendships and relationships, show up for the next thing? Yeah. Whatever the goal is.
It's give and take.
Yes, it's give and take.
It's like, okay, I can't miss everything, but I also can't go to everything. And that's the discipline. Yeah. Right? And that's where you need to find the good balance. Yeah. And I'm always going to bring things back to coaching. Yeah. Because that's where I live. Yeah. Right? But it's like, am I going to eat the junk food all the time when I like to be healthy and I like to feel my best? Because, junk food, I'm not even talking about like image-wise, but even just how I feel lethargic or like my energy's low and I start losing motivation because I'm starting to feel those junk foods. Like I can have junk food sometimes, but I'm not going to let myself have it all the time. And that's the discipline. I'm going to let myself enjoy king cake when it comes out, but I'm not going to have king cake, every single day until it's like not on the shelves anymore. Yeah. It's like satisfying our craving, whether it's for food or satisfying our craving of like the social life, but also knowing like, okay, well, I went out last weekend, so like I really need to stay in this weekend because I have XYZ on my mind, and I know I need to pass. Yeah. Like me, I love to read all these like self-help books and manifesting books and money books, business books, but I have told myself, for those of you who don't know, I've started another LLC, and I'm starting a construction company so we can build to sell brand new houses. Me and Missy have done it with another family. So I take my general contractor's exam by Louisiana State next month. Well, I finished a book maybe about a month and a half ago, and I was like, I'm not allowed to open up another book for fun until I pass this test. Why? Because if I'm looking at a stack of flashcards and some math problems to tutor myself on, or a self-help book that makes me feel bubbly inside, I'm going to read that book. Yeah. So I was like, if I want to read another book that I truly enjoy, I need to do these flashcards, do all this math, pass this test. Yeah. It's like I'm going to get to my fun reads, but right now before I go to bed, I read a few flashcards every night. And like that's the discipline I have. Like I love to read my book like with the windows open or like before bed, but I have a goal in mind. Yeah. Yeah. And we just kind of have to look at what you're doing. Is what you're doing helping you with your goal? If the answer is no, then is it beneficial for your mental health? Yeah. And is your mental health in trouble? And I don't mean like I'm massively depressed or I'm overly stressed, but like, do you just need a minute? Yeah. Like, that's okay. It doesn't have to be so extreme either, right? Like, it's not like, oh my God, like I'm about to have a mental breakdown, I need a break. But like, no, like it's okay to like not be on the verge of a mental breakdown and still like need to go grab a coffee with like a friend just to have a conversation, not about school or not about whatever your task is that's like at hand. Yeah. Like it's okay to take those small little breaks and allow yourself some oxygen every now and then.
Yeah, because you have to rest, right? And like
and I think when we talk about this, people think it's like so extreme one under the other, but like no, like there's a happy medium for everything that like we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the rest part is the rest and like knowing what, I mean, like you kind of said this a few minutes ago, but like the rest part, but also like knowing, you said what did you say? November.
No, November is my vibe. It's a November.
It's a November.
It's a November
like you're saying no to things that
we are not putting anything on our schedule for November.
Yeah, I love that.
we did have, I had a friend in town, Will from the Out Foundation. Well, the founder of the Out Foundation. He randomly texted me on Friday and was like, I'm in town. Do you have time to catch brunch? And I said yes to that because, like, I only get to see him, like, once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, he's always in New York and I'm always here. You know, so, like, obviously I said yes to that. But why? Because it was something social that I wanted to do to catch up with a friend that I don't get to see. And it was a very, like, self-care outing to, like, go and just have conversation. Did we talk a little bit about the gym and a little bit about Our Foundation? A little bit. Yeah. But honestly, like, my kids were at the table with us. You know, like, he was with his new fiance. So, like, we're getting to meet, like, get to know him. And, you know, like, he was kind of getting to know the kids because last time he really saw Lennox was, like, 1 and Missy was pregnant with Levi.
That's right, yeah.
So, you know, but, like, yeah, I said yes to that, but it was a social thing that I wanted to do on the weekend. We had no plans for the weekend, and the plans happened for Sunday on Friday.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, hey, what are you doing, like, the last weekend of November? I have, like, no. Like, I'm waiting for the weekends to arrive, get here, and we do what we want because we have super busy October. We have gym anniversary, our wedding anniversary, Levi's birthday, and we have...
we volunteered for that race.
We volunteered for the race. Levi's birthday. I'm trying to think. We had something else.
Festivus.
Yeah. So we had so much going on in October, and we usually always do. And then December is my birthday. Obviously, every weekend you have a holiday party to go to. So when November got here, me and Missy were like, it's a no, bruh. Like, yeah. It's a no.
I love that.
Do we enjoy it? Like, we're taking this month just like, what you want to do this weekend?
Yeah. I super love that because I think, like, November is the start of the, like, marathon holidays. Yeah. Especially in Louisiana, it's the start.
Because our holidays don't end until Mardi Gras.
They don't end until Mardi Gras. So, like, I think, and it doesn't have to just be November. Say, like, your November's packed for you, right? For the people listening home or whatever. So maybe it's like
January gets here, I ain't doing shit.
Yeah, you don't have to have a fancy phrase. It's, you know, helps, I guess. Like, you could
I'm saying no this month. Yeah. I just need a break.
Yes. And, like, that, I think being able to say no to stuff is a struggle.
High five. We have gotten so good at saying no. I'm so proud of us. Everybody's like, these dudes are literally high fiving over saying no. Yes. For me, dog. This is such a big accomplishment for me and you.
Yeah. It
was hard. Really hard for me to, like, walk away from Out Foundation.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was proud of myself because I was like, I'm just claiming my time back.
Good.
That's all. And my energy.
Yeah. Like, and I think that's, like, with goals, sometimes what happens is when people see you start achieving them and, like, elevating, people will be like, that is somebody that I, like, admire, I respect, and you will often, especially in, like, career workplaces, they'll be like, I want to give you more work. Mm-hmm. And being able to be like, nope, is a hard thing for some people to say, and it's sometimes hard for the other person to accept because they're like, well, but I asked you, and it's like, yeah, but you asked me, so I'm saying no.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then
you're always allowed to say no.
Yeah. And there are people who are like, okay, great, no problem, just wanted to check.
And other people take it very personally.
Other people can't handle it.
Think it's your responsibility and be like, no, bro.
Yeah.
Last I checked, you ain't paying my bills.
Yeah.
And if I'm salary, I already hit my hours this week.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, that's a little bit harder of a conversation to have for your boss. But still, it's like we have to learn. If we don't set the boundaries for our time, people will walk straight through them, right? So, like, another thing too is saying no. Like, you know, I had someone reach out to me because I've been doing transgender, like, healthcare and athlete advocating since 2017. Is, you know, I had that other panel reach out to me late last week, you know, and I felt bad because they didn't, like, have somebody else, and I gave them a few other connections, but I said no because it's like, do I have anything to go on that day? I don't have something specific going on that day, but every other day of my week is jam-packed. So, like, I wanted to leave that day a little bit open because if not, like, I'm dead by Friday evening. Yeah. You know? So I was proud of myself for saying no for that. I don't love panels either. I like advocating speeches and, like, conversations and seminars, things like that, but panels aren't my favorite.
Yeah, panels are hard.
Yeah, panels aren't my favorite for a few reasons. And, like, some people love panels, you know, and, like, I'll do a shit ton of advocating, and I have in many ways, and I've done a handful of panels, and I've just learned that I don't love them. So, but me, 2019, would have been like, put me on. Like,
I remember that.
Here's my headshot. Here's my summer.
Bio.
Here's my resume. All this stuff. Put me on the pamphlet. Hand my face out to all these strangers. And I was like, no, I can't. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. You know? I think, and that felt good.
Right, so, like, I know we've talked about, like, setting boundaries, right, to help support our self-care, to help, like, us achieve that goal and keep going with it.
Yeah, because our goals are going to keep us busy enough, so we have to have those boundaries in the meantime.
Yeah, I think, what did COVID, right, because everybody talks about it, you know, did COVID change any of your goals like that?
No, I don't think COVID changed, like, my goals as far as the business. Like, I always want Flambeau to be, like, as busy and successful and meaningful to people as possible. And I've always wanted to be a good online nutrition coach for people, because I don't think people go in person a lot for nutrition. So I don't think it changed, like, my core goals as far as, like, my core business.
Yeah.
But I do think that I felt the need to be as involved with as much advocacy as possible because of what the political climate turned into, even more so around COVID. Like, people were just like, I mean, you know, everybody was here. Everybody saw it. Like, it was very extreme, right or left. And I have friends and family on both sides of things. But to me, because I was already in the advocating world and the CrossFit world, I did feel like I needed to be as much of part of the change as possible.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I love and loved Out Foundation. So I was like, of course I will open the chapter here and be the president. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I want to be the trans person and advocate on the DEI council.
Yeah.
You know, and I achieved both of those things. And then in just the meantime, after we settled in the house, I just realized, like, I didn't need those things, and that I needed to shift my energy to, like, really the priorities of, like, my household and my personal businesses that are lucrative for me and my family.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think it changed, like, my core goals, but I do think it did shift me into more, say, like, volunteer efforts.
Yeah.
You know, and it's 2 years later, and I'm reeling it all back in. Now, I still have a goal of mine has always been to help, you know, our recovery community. So I have started that, but I have help. Yeah. I have help, and now that I've pulled back from other things, I have energy.
Yeah.
To do it. And it's something that lives inside of me because of, you know, an experience that, like, I've had.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I've closed those chapters, and yet again, here's another goal.
Yeah. But
it's more attainable because now I have the help and the team to help me create this event, and it's not solely just on my shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the reason why I asked that question is, like, COVID changed a lot for a lot of people. I think people reevaluate. I mean, for all of us, right? Not just a lot of people.
It changed the world.
I think it
business everything
forced a lot of people to reevaluate what are the non-negotiables in their lives. What are they spending too much time on?
How many people career changed? It absolutely changed.
What are the things people are spending too much time on that they're like, this does not fulfill me, or like, I want to spend more time with my kids, or I want to be spend more time with my partner and my dog. You know, those things. Which is great. So, like, I think for people out there, you know, sometimes, and I think you said this today, is like, sometimes you have to shelve a goal to be able to get other things out of life, and that doesn't mean that you failed. Or, I mean, maybe you failed. Like, failure is not bad. It didn't serve
you the way you even thought it would, maybe.
Right. It didn't serve you the way you thought it would, or you couldn't do all of it. So I know that I used to go to the gym 3 times a week when I wasn't in school. Like, 3 times a week, like clockwork.
Shoot, and I feel like you're in there more than that now.
Maybe 4, maybe on Sunday. Yeah. We talked about this thing in another episode, but I was there all the time, and it made me feel good. And I looked good. I still look good today, right? Because, like, my body is good in both both are true. But I really had to put that goal on the shelf for a little bit because I physically and
you didn't have the
mentally
energy.
I could not do it. Like,
Yeah.
I tried for a long.
You're like, I know I'm a healthy person. I'm moving.
I tried.
School is draining me. Work is tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you're engaged. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, like, y'all aren't, like, major, like, rush planning, but, like, that's still a whole other thing.
Yeah. So I think, because I know we talk about fitness a lot, and I know we talk about, like we, you bring a lot of, like, fitness and coaching related, and I feel like I bring, like, different systems level thinking as far as, like, public health and stuff, right? So it's like, if you're a person where your fitness goal is, like, not able to be a priority in the way that it used to be or the way that you want it to be, like, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
If
your body's malleable, you will get back.
Yes.
You'll get back. And no, I'm not saying, like, screw your health.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what I'm ever going to say. Like, there's always time to make sure you're doing the best you can. You can't just, like, throw it to the wind and be like, F it, because once your doctor starts realizing your health's decline, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to say it can't be a priority, but it's like, it's not totally off.
Yeah.
The plate.
I think that if you're not able to get the fitness goals that you want, that's totally fine. I think if you're feeling like your work is not satisfying you, or you're like, man, I thought I'd be much further along in my career, like, that's also fine. I'm, like, kind of pushing you, I guess, to think about, like, what is it that, really does fulfill you? What is it, the thing that you're like, man, this is, like, really what makes me happy? And, like, that is, to me, is the most important. My dog and my partner, and, like, being able to do, because my cousin asked me this, he's like, are you ready to get married? And I was like, yeah, but, like, the day that we get married is not, I mean, like, yeah, that's a goal, right? Like, that's a thing. But, like, every adventure that I get to have, and, like, everything that I get to do with her and, like, with my dog is, like, that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is the thing. And I know New Year's, New You is coming right around the corner.
It is.
And, like, for those folks who are listening at home, I think, like, think about what goals are no longer serving you.
That's what I wanted to talk about before we hop off, is, like, I want people to look at what's stressing them out. Is it the goal itself, or is it the pressure you're putting on yourself because of this goal?
Yeah.
Or is it not smart?
Yeah.
Right? Like, do we need to change the structure? Right? If you're a person, like I said, I have so many people that come in, I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay, well, let's lose 7 and get excited. And let's get to 10 and then get excited. And then get to 15 and get excited. So, like, look at your life. Do you feel really stressed about a goal? Is that goal your goal, or a goal you think someone else has for you? Because if it's a goal you think someone else has for you, then it's probably not going to make you truly happy. But if it is a true goal for you, then, like, what is really stressing you out about it? Like, is it the time frame you've put on yourself? Is it that you're not enjoying, all the baby steps that you're making along the way? Like, if you're trying to get out of debt, like when I was trying to get out of, like, the debt before we started building the house, it was like I got rid of one small credit card, and me and Missy would go to a nice dinner. And then we would throw all of our money at the next debt we were trying to get rid of, and we'd go on another really nice date, or we'd allow ourselves to go to the mall, and we'd each, like, buy something. You know what I'm saying? And then like we'd lower, like, another debt, and, like, we would treat ourselves after every single small debt we were able to pay off until we had no credit card debt, not even paid off one of the cars.
Yeah.
And it's like, because if you look at that big picture, it can be so overwhelming and feel like it's going to take forever. But no matter what your goal is, you're making baby steps there. Yeah. You need to, like, celebrate them.
Yeah. For me, the baby steps and the stepping stones, the, whatever you want to call it, the increments, the ladder, rungs, the small process movements along the way and feeling successful at them was, like, what really drove me and was what really got me through the, like, 5-year process of school all year round the last 5 years, and, like, having my partner, my friends, and other people be, like, really thrilled because they knew it was important to me. and being there for me with my goals. So that's like another thing. Like, think about the people who are like there for you and your goals.
Yeah.
And like critically think about it, right? I'm not being like, maybe this person is,
because we have our small little group of
right,
like our friends that are in that group chat.
Yeah.
Like, that is our core, and we'll go in there. We won't talk for 2 days in that group, and you'll be like, past my exam.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll go in there and be like, we got another member. Like,
Yeah.
it could be totally random. We're not even in middle conversation, but you have that core group with you that's like, let's celebrate these small goals together. And we're all like high-fiving emojis and everything.
Yeah.
Like, and you need that, you know,
Yeah.
like, it's not, and like I said, it's not bragging.
Yeah.
Your true, genuine friend circle, your family will celebrate with you, because I think we're all in this busy, stressful world and realize like how much we need that gratifying moment to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yes, absolutely. You need to have your core people behind you. And if your core people aren't behind you, then like critically think about that.
Yeah,
think,
maybe that shouldn't be your core. Is that too daring to say?
Right.
I mean, it's like, I'm not saying like you're the person you think your best friend's not your best friend, but like maybe.
I think not think that maybe this person, you know, isn't there for you, but be like, why is this person not invested in this for me also?
Why can't they just be happy for me?
Right.
We're not even in the same career field. Why can't my quote unquote best friend celebrate this with me? You know, because I mean, I do know some people that have had friendships and I'm like, I don't know, bud.
Yeah.
It seem a little too jealous all the time.
Right.
You know, and like that doesn't feel good. You don't want to go tell that friend anything good because you're like, you know, they're going to say some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a reevaluation sign.
Yeah. I know we had talked about possibly doing like probably feel like a month after, probably when King Cake season's like height of Mardi Gras. We'll do a New Year, New You check-in or whatever, and we might come back to this. But I
mean, and here, like, right, we'll have another episode out before, like, New Year's hits, but don't stress out about it. Like I was saying in the beginning, like, goals are great, but, like, if you're happy with your life, like, don't feel like the New Year's coming up and, like, you have to set another goal.
Yeah.
Like, you might already be well on your way to whatever goal you set for yourself last year, and maybe your goal is going to take longer than 2022 to get there, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really love the whole marketing. I don't even love it as a coach. Like, I usually always put, like, one, like, New Year, New You, whatever, special, because I know it's, like, clickbait, but honestly, I genuinely pretty much hate the messaging.
I generally hate it because of the idea that it's, like,
something's wrong with 2022 version of you. So let's think of a brand new you for 23. Like, bitch, ain't nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, something was wrong with you the past year. So you better fix it or be ready to fix it going into the new year. And then if by 3 months into the new year, because then there's all those opinion pieces that are like, if you don't have your New Year's resolution habits built by 48 days or, you know, whatever the statistics percentages is, then they're like, you're less likely to really achieve that. And it's like, I love data. I get that. But I think the New Year, New You really, like, it sets us up as like man, I hate my old self. So, like, I need to fix myself.
Yeah.
But, like, that whole fixing yourself is a trap because, like, you might need to change some things. But saying that you're fixing something implies that you're broken, implies that you're, like, not valuable. I don't like it either. Like, I just hate it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
You know?
I haven't been a big fan of, like, New Year's, like, resolutions in a long time.
Yeah.
And I am a goal-oriented person. I'll say it again. Like, I am very motivated to a fault. You know, like I said, like, my biggest lesson through this year has been to see what serves me and get things off my plate. So, like, I am a goal-oriented person saying that, like, you don't need New Year's to change everything about your life or set new goals, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, find what goals are genuinely going to make you happy. Give yourself the time and space to get there realistically and in a healthy way. Healthy physically, healthy mentally. Yes, it takes discipline. You're going to be able to go to some things, but there are going to be times where you're going to have FOMO because you just can't.
Yeah.
And, like, that's life.
Yeah.
You know?
Allowing yourself breaks, and some people like to schedule them, some people don't. I sometimes have to schedule them because if I don't, I'm just gonna not.
Shit, I just
work.
told you we just booked a we are closing the gym between Christmas and New Year's. Everyone's going to get like the all access code, and I am leaving my computer home, and we are going to North Georgia, near Chattanooga.
I love that.
It might snow, maybe not, but it's going to be cold, and there's a hot tub, and I'm taking the week off, right? Because I own a gym, and January is around the corner, so like inevitably we know what's going to happen, which is great for business.
Yeah,
but I'm here for everybody's health and fitness all year round. Yeah. It ain't got to be January 1. But, yeah, you got to learn to be goal-oriented, but take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time to get to your goal, and take your time to rest your mind, and take your time to appreciate the goals you get along the way.
I feel like we're both so close to our vacations. You're going to Georgia, North Georgia. I'm
shut up. Way
going
cooler
to Spain.
than Georgia.
I'm like,
that's gonna be so awesome.
I'm thrilled for both of us. I think
he said Spain, by the way.
That's right.
If anybody missed that, he was going to Spain.
I'm thrilled for both of us. I think
NBD.
I think that if I had to say, like, I think because I always like to give people homework.
I know.
I love that. So listeners at home, I really want you to challenge yourself and think about the goals that no longer serve you, and think about the ones that you're currently working on that you're really proud of. And like, you don't have to put any away. You don't have to shelve any. You don't have to like get rid of any. But like, I really challenge you to do that, because I think me and Dylan have both
just reassess your goals.
We've really had to do that, and we've really had to realize our limited time, our limited mental capacity, and like focus on the things that we have to focus on now, and really challenge ourselves to like be proud of each other, like be proud of ourselves, right? And tell people that we're proud of ourselves.
I was back in therapy earlier this year, and like I have people being like, I hate saying this stuff, but people being like, you're such an inspiration, like your gym and like all this stuff, like everything you do in your family, and like you built your house, like all this stuff. And like I had to get back into therapy this year because I was so stressed all year long, and like just thinking I was like a failure at 33 because I was stressed.
Yeah.
And it's like because I wasn't giving myself any mental space to appreciate the things that I was achieving along the way.
Yeah.
Or letting myself just like turn off for a weekend.
Yeah. I think
it's so important. So I wish somebody would have told me sooner. Like, reassess your goals.
Yeah.
Figure out one goal is stressing you on your road to get there, why it's stressing you, if there's a way you can fix it and start working on that. Or if there's a goal that is just like not a good goal for you, like maybe tank that goal.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
You can come back to it. If you really feel strong about it, you can come back to it.
Yeah, if it's lingering on your mind, like you can come back to it. But if you're like, God, why am I still stressed out and still working so hard at this? It's only bringing me down. It's keeping me up at night. Like maybe it's just not the time for that. Yeah.
Cool. I think about your goals. Think about what's no longer serving you, and like allow yourself to be proud of yourself for everything you've achieved.
Pat yourself on the motherfucking
back,
y'all.
You deserve it. And then maybe lean into Dylan's November.
Yeah.
And say no to something.
Yeah, we still got time.
But don't say no to not listening to our podcast.
Yeah. This has been fun.
That's the only one.
I like this one. This was good. And I am almost positive someone out there is going to get something and be like, oh, wow. And I am really stressed. Fuck this goal.
Yes, fuck that goal, man.
But you can achieve all your goals as long as they're smart. What's it stand for, Jimmy? Go one more time.
SMART, specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and time sensitive.
That's right. Ooh, you like that? Y'all didn't know, huh?
Depending on the resource, it sometimes is relevant for the R, but I like realistic. So we'll go with
I like realistic.
Spin,
All right. Until next time, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you later.
Talk to y'all soon.
Hey, friends. We know that your life is busy and filled with all types of commitment, tasks, and obligations. So we thank you for you spending your time with us. We hope you are now feeling good about who you authentically are and how you should invest in yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, then you can't take care of others. That being said, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Subscribe, and we'll talk at you next time.